Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. It is Manchester United. Well, it's transfer deadline day for everybody, but it is now or never for Manchester United and what this football club is all about. I tweeted it this morning and you know what? I've been really trying to just encapsulate what it's like to be a Manchester United fan, what it's like to be in this situation today. I see a defeated fan base. I see a fan base full of low expectation. I see a fan base totally expecting Manchester United to do nothing revolutionary in the last few hours of this transfer window, to just deliver up somebody that nobody else wants, that's just another mercenary that doesn't want to be here. We've seen it all before and we're expecting to see it again. I think being a Manchester United fan is very much like I said on Twitter earlier. It's like the person who knows the love of their life partner he's having affairs, but just wants to ignore it in the hope that they will come back and love you and everything will go back to normal. And it won't. It won't. We are getting screwed every single day as Manchester United fans. And there is an acceptance from Manchester United fans. I mean, I've spent so long over the last 15 years thinking about the Glazers. And I've spent so long over the last 8 years furious about what's going. And I think I'm now at the point where nobody's doing anything. You know, there's a lot of individual anger, but nobody's actually doing anything. These owners and Ed Woodward and co are arrogant people who don't care about what you think because you keep sending them money anyway. They're loaded. They're set for life. They're doing the job of their dreams, making a lot of money, and all they get is a little bit of social media. You know, a few people outside their house, which is totally unacceptable, but a lot of social media anger. They still keep doing the same things. We are in exactly the same position we were under with Louis van Gaal, where he bought Di Maria and Cavani. Just change the names. So not Di Maria and Cavani. Di Maria and Falcao. Just change the names. How many years ago was that? 5 years ago? 6 years ago? Here we are again in 2020, but going to get Dembele and we're going to get Cavani. And substitute those out for Falcao and Di Maria. And they're not the same player. And the values are a little bit different. But we're still chucking lots of money after bad deals. And that's the way today could go. That is the way today could go. I'll tell you the situation with Sancho, but you already know it. But that's the way today could go. And if it does go like that, you know, I feel it. I didn't sleep well last night. The result last night, the anticipation of what's going to happen today, the acceptance that it's going to be another horrific year for Manchester United, the acceptance that Solskjaer is going to get the sack. Like, I don't want him to, but the way things are going, he's going to get the sack. These players can't be trusted. That they can't, and we've been saying this for years. It's nothing to do with Solskjaer. We said it under Mourinho, we said it under Van Gaal. These players, and I know some of them are new and not, but it runs right the way through the club. You know, Harry Maguire's only played for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Pogba's played for Mourinho and Solskjaer. There are some players that have played for Van Gaal and Mourinho and Solskjaer, but it doesn't really matter how long you've been there. They all get infected with the same thing. Can't be arsed. Don't really get what it means to play for this club, and certainly don't fight enough for it. So, you know, we keep going down this cycle at Manchester United, and it's very, very sad. And nobody wants to join together and do anything about it. They don't. And I think, you know, for somebody who does like a good rant and a good moan, it doesn't do anything. Oh, fuck yeah, you, the Glazers. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, what does it do other than raise your own blood pressure? It doesn't do anything. We've got to be cleverer than that. Glazers out on Twitter. We've been doing it for years. It doesn't do anything. They still sit there and go, watch what I'm about to do on transfer deadline. We've spent 6 months on Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho wants to come to United. Ollie wants him. Do you think we're spending that money? We've got dividends to get. Just get him some crap player that idiots all think is a good one for half the price. Dividends, Christmas, you know. They probably will do that today. And some of you will buy it and some of you will just moan about it. But nothing will change. They'll do it again in a couple of years. And they'll do it again in a couple of years after that. And they've been doing it for the last 8 years. They'll do it again and again and again. And again we'll see Glazers out trending. And again we'll see people ranting and raging. But nothing changes. And they just keep doing what they've been doing all along. So, look, what's going to happen in today's transfer window? We've got it covered on the United Stand. We've got an 11 o'clock stream after this one till about, 11 to 11. 12 hours we're streaming across the channel. So make sure you subscribe and get involved because we will be here for all the reaction, for all the news. Where are we in transfer deadline as things stands? Well, Pete Squire says Sancho's in London, Dortmund aren't happy. Final bid today, surely he's coming. Like I said last week, as a joke, 7th of October, looking possible now, says Pete Squire. And Carlos says, it's 2 a.m. in LA, I'm going to go to sleep. When I wake up, Sancho better be Man United number 7. As things stand now, taking away what I... No, well, look, the way Romano's talking and the way other people are talking, we are definitely progressing conversations with Ousmane Dembele. That is not, you know, I thought the deal was gone on Saturday. I was told the deal is gone on Saturday. United have resurrected it again. The situation with Ousmane Dembele is Barcelona want him to go because they want Memphis Depay. That to me is huge, because if Ousmane Dembele is so bloody good, he's only 23. If Ousmane Dembele is so good, why do a shit Barcelona team want to get rid of a 23-year-old superstar? You know, Messi doesn't want to be there. They've got hardly any decent players, and Ousmane Dembele is the right age profile and apparently the right talent to turn things around at Barcelona. You've got Man United fans saying he's a baller, he's a brilliant player, he's as good as Sancho. If he's so good, why does a shit Barcelona team not want to keep him and get the best out of him? Because he's an injury-prone flop. That is why. And they would rather have Memphis Depay, who we got rid of. So it doesn't make any sense there. Ousmane Dembele doesn't want to go. He has had to be basically begged and pushed out of Barcelona and begged by us, which again is not the sort of deal we're meant to be doing, and it's not the sort of deal Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants. And I will tell you for now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't want this deal. He'll take it over nothing, but he doesn't want this deal. He's very frustrated. He's very angry, just like you, and he has not got the deal he wanted. He was promised Jadon Sancho. Sancho has been promised a move to United by Ole. The conversations have been going on for a very long time. But we'll talk about Sancho in a minute. But what I would say is, look, and I'm not a big fan of the Cavani signing because it's desperate. It's very, very desperate. But how can you and I moan about Manchester United performances and expect, you know, one of the things I see is always moaning about, they don't care about the shirt, they don't get what it's all about, they're a joke. And I've heard this for 8 years. How can we really moan? Well, of course we can moan about it because we care about the club, but how can we not expect another Newcastle in 6 months' time, another Spurs, another Bournemouth, another Watford, those results that have been here way before Ole? These were happening under Moyes, they were happening under Van Gaal, they were happening under Mourinho, they're now happening under Ole, and they're going to happen, and they're going to keep happening. We're going to keep having embarrassing results where we go, they don't deserve to wear the shirt. Do you know why? Because if you employ mercenaries who don't care about the club, you're going to get results from those mercenaries where they don't care about the club. When things are going well, everything's great. But when the shit hits the fan, how many players have we got that step up to the plate? You know, even Paul Pogba yesterday, lazy in the second half, didn't go with Aurier, gave a silly penalty away. He cost us 2 goals. 2 goals in a Premier League game will cost you a match. Didn't really matter yesterday because we were already 4-1 down, but he cost us 2 goals. I'm not saying Paul Pogba's a mercenary, but what I'm saying is we bought badly for a very long time. And Cavani's agent said in February, Cavani would have come to United if it was about the money. Well, here he is. So it's about the money. Dembele doesn't want to come to United. What are we begging him with? Money. When we lose in 3 or 4 months' time, if we get Dembele and we've got Cavani, what are you going to say? They don't care about the shirt. Hold on a minute. They've only come here for the money. If you employ mercenaries, you are not going to get what you want in a Manchester United shirt. And again, this goes back to the board. You know, Ole would not want these signings. No way. This is the board again, chucking money because they've messed up on what has been a catastrophic transfer window. Let's not forget, United want to get deals done early. We can take advantage of this market. This is stuff coming out from Manchester United at the start of the transfer window. And here we are with just over 12 hours left of the transfer window. Just over 12 hours left of this transfer window. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't got one of his priority signings. The 3 players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted this summer were Upamecano, Jack Grealish and Jadon Sancho. He's got none of them. Now, Van der Beek, to me, is not a bad alternative to Jack Grealish. But Jack Grealish was the player that Ole wanted. And United said, we're not paying for that. So we didn't get him. So we got Van der Beek. The centre-back and the right winger, we haven't even got him yet. So that's where we are with that. Let me give you the update on Jadon Sancho. So how will Dembele even pass the medical? And if he fails, are United still going to keep him? This is another T-shirt sales deal just like Cavani, says Anish. Appreciate your work, Mark. Thanks. You did what you can, but it's time for us. Let's bombard the social media. Time to unite. This is the time for us. Deep request side says Shiva. Hashtag Glazers out. And True, also think about it. Barca want to sell Dembele to raise funds. They could buy Sancho next summer if we miss our chance. Can't let it happen, says Pete Squire. Back 5 incoming after the international break. If we get Tellez, Shaw left centre-back, Maguire and Lindelof drops Bay instead of Maguire due to favouritism, says Knight 7. And it's time to protest against the Premier League, Mark. They can change the laws around the club so the Glazers can't take dividends out of the club, says Jacob is ready. Yeah, they won't do that. So where are we with Jadon Sancho? Because it is now or never. It is now or never. And we will get... Maybe we will get Dembele on a loan, but Barcelona want to sell. I mean, look, we can talk about Dembele. We're going to be live all day, so we can talk about the Dembele deal throughout the day. I just want to give everybody an update on the 10 a.m. show. Dembele United wanted to do this if they couldn't get anybody else as an emergency loan deal. Barcelona don't want to do a loan deal. So not only could we get Dembele on loan, which would be stupid, we might end up paying money for him, which would be ridiculous. So keep your eye on what's happens with that. On Jadon Sancho, it's not over. It can't be over because you can't be so close to a deal and it be over when the transfer window is still open. Borussia Dortmund are not happy with Jadon Sancho, and Jadon Sancho is not happy with Manchester United, but he's also not happy with Dortmund because he wants to be allowed to go. Now, the situation, Simon Stone has said that Ousmane Dembele to Man United is not dead, but unlikely. Club wants a loan, he wants permanence. So that could be some good news. That's breaking news there from Simon Stone. So that makes me feel a little bit better. Because I don't want Ousmane Dembele at Manchester United on a permanent deal. And as a loan deal, maybe there's something in that. Sky Cave has put a good tweet out as well. It's taken Man United 15 months to replace £80 million Romelu Lukaku with a 200k a week 33-year-old free agent who hasn't played for 7 months. Goals last season, Lukaku 38, Cavani 7. I mentioned that a couple of days ago, didn't I? I said that, this is just ridiculous what we're going to do. But look, let me talk about the Sancho situation because, look, is there a chance that we get Jadon Sancho? Look, I'm not going to change on Sancho. I said 3 things. When the transfer window closes, we can't sign Jadon Sancho. When Manchester United sign another right winger, we won't sign Jadon Sancho. And if Sancho comes out and publicly says he's staying at Dortmund, we can't sign Jadon Sancho. I'm in this now. I'm strapped in. Maybe I'm heading towards the edge of the cliff and I'm off the cliff. Maybe something's going to save me in these last 12 hours. But I stay 90% club. And the reason I do is this. Jadon Sancho is Manchester United's priority. We all know that. He's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priority. He is the player that United have wanted for a long time, and they've put a lot of work into this deal. It's not a joke. They've put a lot of work into this deal. Jadon Sancho wants to come to Manchester United. He's not training with Dortmund. He's not played with Dortmund. He was out at a party last night. He doesn't want to stay at Dortmund. He wants to go. Dortmund are not happy with Jadon Sancho for that, but Manchester United have not put the bid in for Dortmund. The reason I'm being told they're not putting the bid in is because Dortmund have dug their heels in and said, no, there was a deadline. You missed the deadline. You can bid what you like now. We will not let this deal happen. And unfortunately, because Manchester United have dealt with this deal so badly, they've put Dortmund in a situation where Dortmund actually would probably refuse any deal now because they're so adamant that they can't sell Sancho. So United have messed this deal up. 100%. Whether it gets done now or not, United have messed it up. And that bid, which will be €120 million, it will be. It won't be outright, but it will be what Dortmund would have accepted before August the 10th. And this is the deal that Dortmund said to Sancho, we will accept. United have got the deal to do that, but they won't put it in because they basically feel that Dortmund are going to reject it anyway. So United will only ever put an official bid in when they know it's going to get accepted. We're known for that. So it's not that we don't have the money. We do have the money and we know that. It's not that Sancho doesn't want to come because he desperately does. And it's not that United don't want them because we desperately do. It's because Dortmund have basically told United, you've messed this deal up. You didn't listen to the warnings and you're not having him. And that is where we're at now. There is still a feeling that United can put the bid in. That Sancho will go mad about it and say, look, it's a fair price. Why won't you let it happen? But Dortmund can still say we're not going to sell. So that's basically where we are at the moment. Now, things can change, but the bottom line is Manchester United have absolutely messed this up. They've messed it up. They didn't think the deadline of August the 10th was real. And even if it was real, like, there's still August the 30th, September the 10th, September the 20th. There was still time they could have put this deal in and given Dortmund enough time to go and do something or whatever. You know, it's so frustrating because you will get people saying, oh, it was never going to happen. And, it's never been that. It's never been that. He wants to come. We want him. Solskjaer's desperate for him. The fans want it. The player wants it. We've just messed it up. Because we've got people negotiating who don't. They shouldn't even be negotiating your weekly shopping list. They're a bunch of clowns. They belong in a circus, and they mess every single deal up. And unfortunately, this ain't Porto. It ain't Leicester City. It isn't Crystal Palace. It's Borussia Dortmund, who are very experienced at dealing with high-end deals. And United have gone in there and thought, we can do what we like. And Dortmund have basically said you can't. Doesn't mean it can't happen. But it's now or never. We'll see what happens over the next few hours. But Ousmane Dembele is looking unlikely, according to Simon Stone. And look, what you cannot do is you cannot pick and choose the transfer news that you want to take on board in transfer deadline day, because transfer deadline day is going to be hectic. So you can't pick and choose what you want. Simon Stone is very, very close to Manchester United, and he is a Tier 1 Manchester United journalist. Fabrizio Romano is a Tier 1 journalist. Fabrizio Romano is saying that United are desperately working on the Dembele deal. He's saying nothing about Sancho. Simon Stone is saying that the Ousmane Dembele deal is very unlikely unless it's a loan deal. Ismail Sarr comes into the equation because the Championship deadline is not for 2 weeks, and Ismail Sarr is back in the conversation, according to Sky. So I think at this point, you're going to have to make your mind up about what you want. Woodward and Solskjaer face in the stands yesterday said a lot about what we've become. Clueless. Shout out to Big Red, says Dimitri. What are the mandatory formalities to be completed before a deadline marks? Says Shiam. Just paperwork. He doesn't need to be holding up the shirt. I don't think you need to get the medical done either. There is no universe in which this gets done now, Mark. It's time for us to move on. The next 10 hours aren't going to give us a miracle. All of us took Dortmund for granted, and we will now pay the price for that arrogance, says Tejas. But we won't take it for granted. I didn't negotiate the deal. You didn't negotiate the deal. If I was negotiating this deal, it would have been done at the start of August when Romano said it was nearly done. I would have had him in for the Crystal Palace game. So don't, feel dejected, feel concerned, feel, heartbroken, but don't feel responsible. We can't negotiate the deal. Everything every confidence you've had is right. I've never seen United be so close to a deal and not do it, to be honest. But, I believe there's still time, but I also believe what you're saying there. We've sent clowns to negotiate a deal with people who know what they're doing. Welcome to the Members Club, Natco, and welcome Mark John McAllister. We've got loads and loads and loads and loads and loads for you today. So look, subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. There's lots still to discuss this morning. Subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner, and you can become a member by clicking the join button. You get your badge next to your name. Tea or coffee on Transfer Monday, Mark, says Carlos. I'll be drinking the coffee this morning and I'll progress to tea and then peppermint tea tonight. So I'm ready. The lads are ready. The girls are ready. You're ready. So let's see what happens. Abdallah says very hurtful days, but they say sunny morning comes after a dark night. I'm hoping we can turn this around. If we sign Alex, we can play Lucas as left-sided centre-back, says Abdullah. Well, we may well end up going to a back five. We may well see that. There's going to be a lot of updates today, by the way. United might thrash around and do something stupid as well. In your opinion, what is Ollie's biggest strength and what's the biggest weakness, says Talal? His biggest strength is that he understands what Manchester United Football Club is. His biggest weakness is that he's an inexperienced coach. And we knew all that when we gave him the job. Hi, Mark. Bit out of the blue, but as a centre-back option, what about Rog McNelly from Milan or Skriniar as Spurs out of running? Says Luke. I don't know. Skriniar is better than Harry Maguire. They're very similar players, but at this point, I don't think it's about finding a partner for Harry Maguire. I mean, did you see Harry Maguire yesterday? Anthony Martial's being sent off. He's 10 metres away with his hand on his hips. He's not a bloody captain. You know what? You're either a captain or you're not. And look, call it a passion merchant, but when Martial got sent off there, I'd have been Roy Keane in the face of the ref. I would have been. That's just the way I am. You know that. And I bet many of you are like that. I would have been in the ref's face saying, what are you doing? Get on the bloody screen. I would have got sent off as well. Because the game's gone anyway. The game's gone when Martial gets sent off. So you go in on the ref. And I'm not, look, respect referees exactly, but don't respect a prat. Like, he's an idiot. Get it? I would march Anthony Taylor to the VAR screen. He'd be, I'm not looking at it. I said, you bloody are. Play the camera. I would hold his eyes and say, watch that. Send them both off or give them both a yellow card. Maguire's like that. Hands on hips. I've seen us concede goals this season and he puts his head in his hands. He's not a leader. It's not his fault. I'm not having a go at Maguire. He's not a captain. The way he reacts to big incidents, he's not a captain. He cowers. He puts his hands on his hips. He covers his head. He looks disappointed. He is not somebody as a captain that you look to and go, we can get back into this. His body language is off. It's not his fault. He's just not a captain. That's on Ollie. Harry Maguire's not a captain. There are players out there that when goals go in, they put their hands on their hips and they put their heads in their hands because they're disappointed. Captains don't do that. They inspire. He's not a captain. And that is on Ollie as well. Sunith, welcome to the Members Club. The Guardian say the 6-1 result doesn't affect Ollie's position and the club remain firmly and totally behind him, says Stephen Willocks. Yeah, they're not going to sack him, but they're not going to give him the players that he wants. Would you rather have Dembele and Upamecano or Sancho? Thanks for helping me get out of depression with your videos, says Ol Burgess. To be honest with you, Manchester United are sending mixed messages. Leeds want Dan James. They will pay money for Dan James. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to sell Dan James. He wasn't even on the bench yesterday. Like, the story that came out last week is true. Man United don't want to sell Dan James, and they've made the decision. Ed Woodward and whoever else is supposedly the football guys have told have said Dan James isn't for sale. Leeds want to buy him. Ole wants to sell him. Woodward and co won't let it happen. This is the ridiculous nature of the football club and why it's screwed. We've got non-football people who've screwed the club up for 8 years making decisions against the manager. So your manager of Manchester United, forget who it is for the moment. The 3 players you want, you don't get. You get a couple of mercenaries coming in, and the players you want to sell, they won't sell. How can you manage in those situations? It's like going to work tomorrow or today as a plumber, and the tools you get given are a breadstick to try and, open a bloody pipe or something like that. You can't, it doesn't matter how good a plumber you are, you can't do the job if you're not being given the tools. He's not being given the tools. So, look, Dan James wasn't even on the bench yesterday. We had no bench option that was an out-and-out fast forward, did we? Ighalo wasn't there. We had about 5 midfielders on the bench. That was a clear message from Ollie that he doesn't support, he doesn't support these players. He doesn't rate these players. Leeds want Dan James. There's 20 million quid there. One of the big problems we've had this summer is that we can't get a centre-back and Sancho and Van der Beek because we haven't got the money to do it. But we would have had more money if we'd been able to sell players. Jesse Lingard's still here. Chris Smalling's still here. Rojo's still here. Romero's still here. Phil Jones is still here. Dan James is still here. Delo is still here. He's just on loan. We've not sold anybody. We've brought no money in, which again is a failure on Woodward and co. And all those players are earning millions of pounds a year. So the money flies out of this club for players that shouldn't even be here. But Dan James should have been sold, and then you could bring a player in. It's just a mess from top to bottom in relation to what we've done. Have you heard anything about Matvienko to United? He looks an exciting centre-back, maybe a diamond in the rough, says Christian. I think we need better than that. Welcome to the Members Club, Maz Gaming UK, and Yindik, and also Viniak. Thanks for joining the Members Club, everybody. We are going to be live with you all day. Teams need momentum to succeed. The board cannot provide that regardless who the manager is. Only a director of football can provide the continuity. Well, Sky Cave said it yesterday. United should go and get Van der Sar, and they should. Yes. So with Sancho, look, if you think it's not happening, you're probably right. It's time is running out, so you have to start working towards that. But what I would say is if this deal doesn't happen, it happens for one reason, because of Ed Woodward and the Glazers. That's why. And look, I don't like using the name Ed Woodward, but he is the CEO of the club. He runs the club day to day. The Glazers own the club, they don't run the club. Ed Woodward works for the Glazers, but Ed Woodward runs the club. So it's the Glazers and Woodward. They've messed this deal up. And you say Matt Judge, he's chief negotiator, but you just take if you want the deal, they've had plenty of time to take Matt Judge off the deal and get somebody else in. So it's Woodward and the Glazers who've messed this deal up. You'd cry if you knew how close this deal was, and you'd cry if you knew how easy this deal was, and you'd cry if you know how long United have been working on this deal. Sancho's been a United target pretty much for 2 years. Longer, really, he's been scouted, but he's been a prime target for about 2 years. This deal is so close, and a lot of people expected this deal. You know, even Fabrizio Romano at the start of August was almost saying, here we go. It was so close, and we've negotiated ourselves out of a deal. You know, Dortmund were willing to do a deal. Sancho's always wanted to come. Ollie's always wanted him. Anybody who says it's the money, it's not the money, because we knew what Dortmund wanted at the start. We've just negotiated ourselves out of a deal, which is appalling, absolutely appalling. And the reason United are trying desperately to get Ousmane Dembele and they're chucking money at Cavani is because they've negotiated themselves out of what would have been their big deal, and they're so thick. They would rather chuck money at something desperately to get something in than to just accept they've messed it up and get nothing. And for me, I would rather get nothing than get a Jadon Sancho alternative. Because to me, I watch a lot of football. There are 2 players that are not Jadon Sancho, but we could get for about 60 million quid. Not now, but maybe in January, maybe next summer. In the name of St. Maximin and Traore, who, to me, they're not Jadon Sancho, but they are the sort of player that, you know, you'd bring in and they would be exciting, and they're young and they're up and coming. They'd be perfect. They'd be the sort of Ollie signing. But we won't do that. We won't keep the money in our pocket and just accept defeat. We'll go and chuck it at something ridiculous in the next few hours. So, look, I still believe that United can get the Sancho deal done, but a lot of people are saying it's very unlikely now. There is still a possibility. There is still belief, but, you know, time is running out. But I'll be honest with you, you know, I'm not ranting and raging because I'm tired, and I think it's idiotic. I do. I think, you know, and I've done it, but I think raging and ranting, you know, what does it do? It just raises my blood pressure. It doesn't make Man United stop doing stupid things. They don't take any notice. They don't take any notice of anything that United fans do. They're not bothered. They're arrogant. They're like, they'll still buy the shirts. Yeah, do the tiger print. They'll buy that. They're not bothered. They'll just keep doing it. So it's just noise at the end of the day. So I'm just very sad. I'm very sad at the way that this football club that I love is being destroyed and has been destroyed. It'll be a miracle if we get top 4. If we don't get Sancho in today, it'll be a miracle if we get top 4. And ultimately, we are following the same boring path we've been following since Sir Alex retired, where you get a manager in, they show a bit of hope, they don't get backed, and then you drop. We're just a graph. We're just like that all the time. And, you know, every time we've had an opportunity on the up to invest and build, Mourinho did it when he finished 2nd. Ollie did it when he's finished 3rd. Every time we've had that opportunity, every time we get in the Champions League and we've got an opportunity to build, they spend next to nothing or they mess it up. And it's boring. Sancho is essential, but I think the greatest signing for the future would be Van der Sar as Director of Football, says Muzzy Lions. Marco, won't accept Sancho is off until we see the deal is dead from a journalist. Fab or Sancho himself comes out, they must be still trying, says Stephen Chen. Mate, they are still trying. I would say that in a sentence, the situation with Sancho is that he remains the top priority, that United would do this deal today, but Dortmund are so pissed off with them that they've said, fuck off. You know, basically, that's the situation. Sancho wants to go. He's forcing the move. United will do the deal now. The deal they should have done a long time ago. They will pay what Dortmund want, but Dortmund are now saying, you've messed this deal up so much, get lost. You know, I just... And how's that, you know, and people say, well, we can go and get Sancho in January or June next year. How's that going to work? Like, we've got the money to do the deal today, and Dortmund are saying no. I don't think Dortmund will sell us a cold anymore. And you know what, as well? Can I just say to Borussia Dortmund, they've completed the hat-trick against us if this goes wrong today. They've stopped us getting Sancho when it looked nailed on. They've stopped us getting Bellingham, a young English player, talent, has gone to Germany over coming to United. And they nicked Haaland off us as well. I mean, it's just an advert for why you need a director of football, really. If Sancho signs today for 108 million, what's going to be the whole point of delaying again, proving these rats are incompetent, says Sharath. We are incompetent. The transfer window is a disaster. That won't change regardless of what deal we do today. We've absolutely screwed this transfer window up. That is a fact. The only thing United can do now is salvage a good deal from a bad window. And and the pressure's on them to do that. What else is going on? So we expect Smalling to go. We do expect Smalling to go for about 13 million quid. There is a possibility that Romero and Rojo could go, although it's very quiet on who would buy those at the moment. Shuddy says, even if we get a director of football, aren't they still going to be handcuffed by the board? That's why we have only been linked to ex-players with no experience. Yes, Shuddy. You know, you need a director of football to come in and do the job and then be allowed to do the job. Welcome to the Members Club, DP Banguera. Kill07 says, would a Sancho deal be bound by Germany's 5 p.m. deadline or England's 11 p.m. deadline? No, it'd be ours. You can buy within your deadline, so 11 p.m. for us. Van der Sar, but that's a very good point, because the 5 p.m. deadline in Germany would stop them buying a player. So I always felt that Dortmund could do a deal very, very quickly, but they can't do a deal after 5 o'clock, so it is still very relevant. Van der Sar helped us get Donny. Diego Forlan recommended we get Palestri. Cavani was offered on a plate. Dembele is being pushed to us. We only sign players when there's no resistance from their club, says Silfwave. Exactly. And we're very bad at signing deals when a player... when there's competition for a player as well. So Palestri is this young Uruguayan player. There is talk that we will get him. He is a talent from Uruguay, but he is not a right winger that goes straight into the team. So... yeah, and the contradiction of it isn't lost on me. 33-and-a-half-year-old Cavani on massive wages, and then a young future star. How does that work? Because by the time the young future star comes through, Cavani won't be here. So we're mangled in what we're trying to do. You know, we keep people like Juan Mata here because of his experience. We ain't getting near a title in the next 2 years. So in 2 years, Juan Mata will be dusted. Some say he's dusted already. So it's all right having experience, but where's this experience going to be when it actually matters? You know, I'm all for having experienced players, but you've got to build a bloody team first. Morning, Mark. I have to use a super chat to say I just watched Flex on Sky, well articulated and represented the United stand and United fans impeccably, says Damon LPR. Mark, your honest feelings on the club if you were to give a State of the Union address regarding Manchester United, says Dean Dieck. To be honest, Dean, all I can say about Manchester United is that I'm heartbroken about it. I'm actually, I couldn't sleep last night, you know, and everyone knows I do the rages and, you know, I'll call him a prat and everything like that. Today, I'm just sad. I'm sad. I'm sad at what happened yesterday. I'm sad of seeing Manchester United players not giving the fight I would in a shirt. And look, I can't play football to the level they do, but I could lead those players on that pitch better than them. I could give them a kick up the arse. I could shout and scream. I could be a leader on that pitch, and so could all of you. We lack leadership from top to bottom. You know, I do agree when people say Ollie's too passive on the touchline. I used to say it about Van Gaal and Mourinho, so I'm not going to not say it about Ollie. I want my manager to be like a Jurgen Klopp or a Sir Alex, because I've played football. And yes, you can sit and be a pragmatic manager. You can. But I'll tell you what, when I played football, and I'm sure when you played football, I mean, it can be Sunday morning pub football, or it can be school football, or it can be a high level of football. I've done all of those. Look, I've never played championship or anything like that, but up until I was about 18, I played a good level of football. And the managers I hated the most were the ones that shouted you out and were on the touchline. And the managers that inspired me the most were the ones that when, you know, things aren't going you well, they're on the touchline, they're shouting at me, they're shouting my name. Come on, get up. And, you know, even now I respond to that. You know, come on, get up, come on, come on, you can do this. It gets people going. So we lack leadership in that club from top to bottom. If you've got a director of football who's got a clear, passionate vision of your football club, that's going to run all the way through it. If you've got owners who absolutely are interested in your football club, who visit your football club, who talk to your players and your manager and say, this is what I want. I want us to be the best club in the world. This is what I'm building. You're either part of it or you're not. The CEO is the same, the director of football is the same, the manager's the same, the players are the same. It starts from the top to the bottom. We've got managers who are very passive characters anyway, perception, but all they really want is money. You've got a CEO in Ed Woodward who knows nothing about football and he's a businessman and just wants, he loves the role. You've got no director of football, so there's a gap between the manager and a CEO who knows nothing about football. You've got a manager who's very inexperienced with a coaching staff that's very inexperienced. You've got a squad full of players who are on too much money, who don't know what winning is and are weak-minded. How can that be successful? We are, from top to bottom, lacking leadership and passion and direction and motivation and ambition and fight And this is why we fail. This is what I mean. Like, you know, when we lose the next game with Cavani and Dembele or whoever it is, you can't moan when the club is full of mercenaries. Mercenaries are people that come in and do a job for money. They're not emotionally invested. They're not, you know, living their dream. They're being paid to do a job. And when the going gets tough, a mercenary will sometimes do their job, but sometimes won't, because they're not emotionally invested. So the football club destroys me, because, you know, I see people going, oh, I can't be arsed with this anymore. And I get that, but you can't give up on your football club. But it's soul destroying to know that this is the norm where we are. You know, we will probably sack Solskjaer very soon. We'll probably spend a little bit of money because we'll be in the Europa League again. We'll get back in the Champions League. We won't spend money. And then another manager will be sacked. It's boringly frustrating because we just keep doing it over and over again. There really needs to be change. I would love to see an educated change. I don't think hashtag Glazers out helps. I don't think United fan groups will ever come together to do something like not attend games or you know, mass cost them. You know, basically the way to hurt the Glazers is to cut off the money. The revenue. That's why they bought us. They bought us on debt to make money. The only way to hurt the Glazers is to cut off the revenue stream. It needs to be coordinated. You know, ultimately you need a takeover. You need a forced takeover. To do that, you need somebody with the money to buy the club who has all the fans on side, so that basically it becomes you know, this is off the top of my head. If you've got like an Elon Musk or someone like that, somebody who's absolutely loaded, who wants to buy the club, who supports the club, and I'm not saying he does, but a very rich Manchester United fan whose pledge is to buy the club and make it the best club in the world. Not a cash cow, to make it the best club in the world. And they've got the money to do that. How do you then get the Glazers not to sell it? You get all the Man United fan groups. You get the Supporters Trust, the Red Army, you know, everybody, the fanzine, everybody, all on the same page. You've got the money to buy the club, but the Glazers don't want to sell it. So you force them out. You force them out by people not attending games, people unsubscribing from MUTV, basically bleeding the club dry. Could take 6 months, could take a year, but everybody would have to do it collectively. You'd have to just say, not buying the shirt, not, you know, everything, and then have the buyer there. To do that is probably impossible, to put something like that together. But it would need an educated, intelligent approach to doing that. Why not just add a loan deal for James to Dortmund and get the Sancho deal done? Win-win, says Nitin. Because Dortmund probably don't want him. I have a feeling Pochettino will be signed by the start of the January transfer window, says Dejan. Welcome to the Members Club, Brian Alexander. If nothing else, Woodward and co need to be fired simply for breaking Uncle Pat's spirit on live television. He's been such a soldier for the club. Calvani and agent fees equals 20 million. Haaland costs 20 million in Jan. That's the problem. Saudi's in, says Dylan Taylor. And what was the point of leaving Rooney, a club legend and arguably in better form than Cavani, says Nitter. I don't like the Cavani deal. I know a lot of you do. I'm not going to change my opinion on it. I think, you know, what Sky Cave said is right. We let Lukaku go a year ago. We're paying somebody who's 33 and a half, 200 grand a week to come in and do what? And he's not played, you know, Cavani's not played any football since March. Anybody who says Cavani starts against Newcastle, he's not played since March. He's going to be, you know, more rusty than a bloody bike that's been left out in the rain for 4 months, isn't it? You know, he's going to be very rusty. We have 300 million fans, Mark. That's $10 per person, says Barat. Yeah, try and arrange that as well. Greg Johnson, are you reading my other chat? No, I've missed it, mate, I'm afraid. Unless I can see it there. No, it's gone through. Apologies about that. So, yes, Cavani not played since March. Window is a mess. Tellez and Cavani. Yeah, just on that as well. Can I just say, Tellez holding a United shirt up today, Cavani holding a United shirt up today. Please don't do that. Please don't do that at Old Trafford. I would rather wipe my arse with a Tellez shirt today. And it's nothing against Tellez. I'm really excited about it. But do not start using your time to say, here's Tellez. We know we've got Tellez and we know we've got Cavani. We've got 10, 12 hours left to do some business. I couldn't give a shit about an official announcement of Tellez today. If we are wasting time putting together social media for Tellez today, shove it up your arse. I mean, look, you've had so long to do this deal. This is not the signing of the summer. This is not even one of Ollie's priorities. do not start unveiling Tellez today like it's a big win on the last day of the window. It's embarrassing. The window's been an embarrassment. Don't compound the embarrassment by wheeling Tellez out like we've got to win. You know, the priorities need to happen today. You've still got time to do it. Let's see what happens. And a big part of me still believes that United can offer the 120 million euros, and Sancho can say, "Why are you not taking that deal?" But the problem is he's under contract. It's not a release clause. It's a gentleman's agreement. And Dortmund are saying, well, yeah, we would have took it on August the 10th, but we're not taking it on the last day of the window. So Sancho can force whatever he wants, but once the transfer window's shut, it's not in his interest to tell Dortmund to F off, because he won't be playing football for 4 months. So it's a mess, and it's a mess of Manchester United's making. Simple as being an airplane with turbulence and looking at the hostess for comfort, and that's think things are safe. Harry Maguire reactions are not comforting, says Bashir. And Danielle says, our players shout their love for United on social media, but on the field stand with hands on their hips moaning. Players doing PR spin too. Our captain has fouled Aaron Wan-Bissaka last season too. 80 million my foot, says Danielle. Sonny Bolt, hi Mark, it's my 19th birthday today and I would make my day if you could wish me a happy birthday. I watch your stuff every day. Keep up the good work. Happy birthday to Sonny. I hope United make you feel happy today, but I wouldn't hold your breath on it. I really wouldn't. Welcome to the Members Club, Brian Alexander. The only way we will get the Glazers out is to lead our fans to say we're out, stop the revenue, action over words, and have the snake eat its tail, says Greg Johnson. And if injury-prone Dembele is the only option, we should not be buying him. Loan is a safer bet. United should use the refusal for Depay and blackmail Dortmund. Barcelona, says Rajat. Manchester United Evening News is saying Pellistri goes straight into the 11. That would mean we won't get Sancho, says Ami. I don't agree with that. I think it's a PR spin cover-up. Pellistri is not a first teamer. He's a young lad from Uruguay that you're going to chuck straight into the first team. That's just a load of PR spin. How can Woodward sit there yesterday watching that crap thinking we don't need a centre-back and a right winger? It's a joke, says Jordan Such. And also in relation to the players that have come out and apologised for yesterday, Rashford did it, and I was like, you know what, Rashford actually wasn't at fault for any of the goals yesterday, and it was a thankless task for Rashford, so I appreciated it. But when Harry Maguire came out and did it, and other players came out and do it, I was like, well, you've seen Rashford do it, and now you're trying to get a bit of the sympathy vote. Like, we've been crap for 3 games. Palace was a worse game than Spurs, to be honest. I mean, Spurs beat us 6-1 because they're a better team than Palace, and they were playing against 10 men. Palace was embarrassing, Brighton was embarrassing, and Spurs was embarrassing. And the players come out and go, oh, it's not acceptable, we need to do it again, we. I mean, Harry Maguire should have used the word I, because you're not a captain, so don't use the word we. And also, you were the worst player on the pitch. So it should be I was unacceptable yesterday, not we. You're not a captain. Just because you can write a bloody Instagram post like a captain, I'd much rather see you perform like a captain on the football pitch. You're not a captain, so don't use the words we, use the words I, because you were atrocious yesterday. But yeah, look, words are cheap. We've seen this for a very long time. We go again. We weren't good enough yesterday. It's hurting us as much as it's hurting you. Is it bollocks hurting you as much as it's hurting us? You get paid 200 grand a week, and you don't turn up on the pitch. So I know I could give any of the people watching here who support United 50 grand a week, and they'd run until they dropped. So don't sit there the day after the game or the night on the game saying it's hurting us as much as it hurts us. Bollocks. That's not understand. That's taking the piss out of fans, that is. That's appealing to bloody 5-year-olds. Because you're just trying to play on the heartstrings. It doesn't hurt you as much as it hurts us, because if it did, you wouldn't keep doing it. You wouldn't keep putting it. And I'm not talking about results. Of course, you're always going to lose a game of football. That's part of football. But it's bigger than that for me. It's not the fact that you lose. It's the way that you lose. It's the way that your heads drop. You're not motivated. You're not the right calibre of player. It doesn't hurt you, because if it hurt you, you wouldn't let those you wouldn't give off that demeanour on a football pitch where you give up. If something hurts you, you'll do everything you can to make it stop hurting. You'll fight for the shirt. You'll put some effort in. You don't do that. Visibly, you don't. I'm not arguing you. It's not opinion. I'm talking about a number of United players here, so I don't need to name names. You don't get it. It doesn't hurt you, and you don't care. Because if you did, you wouldn't put that performance in. Simple as that. Are you still in the 90% club, says advocate Johnny K. Jones. I stay in the 90% club because I still think United can do this deal. But the time is running out. And, you know, I would be honest with you and say that, you know, 90% club is dying. You know, it is. Of course it is. And it's dying because of the owners. It's dying because of the negotiators, you know. I dread to think what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer feels like today. I dread to think what Jadon Sancho feels like today, because they would have both fully expected this deal to happen. Even going into yesterday, they probably thought it was still going to happen. But the time is gone. And I think Dortmund are going to take a hell of a lot to maneuver their position. They've, you know, the funny thing about this is Dortmund have held this deal from day one. You know, watch all the videos back. I've said all along, Dortmund know what they're doing. We can't negotiate with Dortmund, and we've tried to do it, and Dortmund have just totally and utterly controlled this transfer saga because we don't know how to negotiate deals. So yeah, it can still happen, but you know, time is running out. And look, I really would say that if by 5 o'clock tonight it isn't moving, is it? Because, you know, but we'll still probably hope. Let's see. Elliot Holmstrom, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Thank you very much for joining. I'd take 10k a week in Colossus and still turn up for the team, Mark, says Akshay. And our fan base seems to be getting eroded. The youngsters are all City or Liverpool, and the older generation is disillusioned. Are we losing our fan base? Says Shrey the Great. We will lose our fan base. It will take 10, 20 years because people just won't support Manchester United anymore. The youth just won't. Jan Argefjortoft has confirmed that there isn't an issue with the agent fees. There was talk this morning that the agent fees were the problem. They're not. It's the way Manchester United have negotiated this deal. So yeah, that's what's happening with that. Let's have just a quick round robin of what's going on. I still have a weird feeling we'll get Sancho over the line. You know, I do. I don't know why, I still do. But, you know, everyone's going to call me an idiot. There's talk of Brandon Williams going on a loan deal as well. Rob Dawson from ESPN is saying that Man United are set to keep hold of Brandon Williams and Dan James despite loan interests. Sancho deal looking dead, and Barcelona unlikely to agree to a straight loan for Dembele. Koeman is now still an option. Kingsley Koeman, you see, we're just desperate. I'd take Kingsley Koeman over Ousmane Dembele, by the way. You know, on a loan, I would take Kingsley Koeman on a loan. You know, that's how desperate we've become now. And you watch my videos from 6 weeks ago. I'm like, we don't want Kingsley Koeman on loan. 6 weeks ago is different to 6 hours of the window, isn't it? You know, Kingsley Koeman would be better than nothing. Dembele, I think I'd rather have nothing. Let's have a look if there's anything else going on. Okay. I mean, Fabrizio is very much pushing the Dembele story, so he obviously knows that something's going on there. Edison Cavani is now signing the first part of his contract as Manchester United player until June 22. Agent fees agreed, all deals details sorted, and here we go, confirmed. That's from Fabrizio Romano. Matteo Darmian to Inter on a permanent deal, official and confirmed. Emerson Palmieri is not joining Juventus. Okay, so that's where we are with that. So how we're going to run the rest of the day is like this. We've got a transfer deadline day stream that starts at 11 o'clock. So we are going to share the loadout during the day as well. I will be popping in and out of shows, but I'm going to be doing the graveyard shift. So 6 o'clock till 11 o'clock. You've got Xander doing 11 o'clock till 2 and Flex doing 2 till 6. So we are going to be live with you throughout the whole day. Covering it. I will be guesting on things as well. I will be going on Xander's thing for a bit at the start, and I'll come on Flex's thing. So there's going to be lots and lots, and we will be reacting to deals as well. So there's going to be times, hopefully, when we're live twice. You know, Xander might be live at midday, and we might sign Jadon Sancho, and I'll go live. So there'll be 2 streams going on. So there's a lot going on the United Stand. So make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, and make sure you've got your bell notification on, because then you'll get the notifications when we go live. So there's a bell next to subscribe. Click it and then tick to get all notifications. So bottom right-hand corner, subscribe to the channel. Smash a like on the video. And hey, Mark, Sancho is not coming. The board are playing us like rats in a rat lab, says Jake Foot. I will not buy anything from the club. Someone else with me. Let's start this mission against the Glazers, says Dag. And Kwan Ali says, I admire your patience, Mark. Even as your 90% club shrinks to powder room, the Glazers must really hate the club. This can't just be incompetence, says Kwan Ali. And remember the videos in August when Sancho was all about doing the dotting the I's and crossing the T's? We were so happy with Sanchez going and Sancho joining. 90% club, we stayed together, we go down together, says Amy. And I think that's the sad thing. Look, you're going to get people saying, ha ha ha, look at 90% club. The thing about 90% club is it's not, you know, there was people out there giving us dates when Sancho was going to sign, wasn't there? You know, that's bullshit. That's lying. 90% club was pure. 90% club is pure. 90% club is truth. Because the problem is, there's 10% that isn't 90%. And the 10% has always been where we are now. The people put in the bid in at the right time. And the bid can still go in. It might not go in. And it might go in and it's the wrong time and Dortmund say no. But the 90% is always been the tier 1 journalists that were saying it was going to happen. Solskjaer wanting it. United wanting it. Sancho wanting it. All the people who've been telling us that it's going to happen. That's where 90% club comes from. The 10% is about that no matter how close a deal is, there's always that bit that you should be concerned about with Man United and negotiations. And that's where we are with it. And that's where we've always been. We're all going to have post-traumatic stress disorder seeing Dortmund logo after Haaland, Bellingham and Sancho. Who have these owners turned our club into, says Gustav. And it's such a shame that it's come to this. To lose 6-1 against our old manager at Old Trafford is, with that scoreline, is an embarrassment. And I'm crushed, says Sam Allen. You know what? I think that's true. I think you know, that's how I feel at the moment. We just feel very crushed, don't we, with what's going on with the club. I just feel very sad today. I mean, look, I'm sure there will be anger and frustration because that's just my personality. And I'm sure there will be times today where I lose it. I really do think that will be the case. But on top of that, I also feel that I just feel very sad. And I feel very sad because I'm a problem solver. I'm sure many of you are a problem solver. And when I see a problem, I want to solve it. And with Manchester United, I don't feel I can be part of something that solves it. I don't think 800,000 subscribers or 30,000 people watching, or, you know, I just don't. I think we're too small. I don't think we can do it. I think, you know, for United fans to do something, it needs to be way bigger than that. And I don't think we'll get that with our fan base. I see it day after. I see it day after day. Online, people hating on each other. You know, Forest fan scammers. You know, people just are full of hate in our fan base, and they would rather aim that hate at fellow United fans because of I don't know what, than actually look at the mess of the club. It's like being on a sinking ship, and instead of working together on a lifeboat, you burn the lifeboat to stop somebody else getting away and start fighting with each other. The ship's going to sink and we're all going to die anyway. But the chance that we've got to build something and get away from this, no, forget that. Let's fight amongst ourselves. And that's the United fan base, to be honest. It's been like that for years, and it remains like that. Divided, hardcore, but not from me. You know, will always talk to any United fan, especially for the benefit of the club, and try and resolve things. But yeah. Hey Mark, can you please say Ross Law is a prat, says Peyton Manning. And Mark, don't you think United would do better with a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2 in a diamond with Bruno at the tip, says Akshay. Mark, release the 90% club t-shirts. It can become the symbol of change. We'll proudly wear it. We'll remind the owners of what they screwed up on, says Shrey the Grey. And Matteo Darmian to Inter from United, according to Sky. I thought he was a Parma player, says Christian. Well, he's left after a year, hasn't he? And Mark, you have been amazing throughout this window, keeping us updated. However, we are not signing anyone else, let alone Sancho. That boat is already sailed. Take time off today and finish your FIFA 20 career mode. Andrew C, I'm going to be here with everybody because that's the way it should be. It's transfer deadline day, and you know, even though it's not our fans, it's not our fault, and even though we are the victims, we'll stand together and we'll watch it all together. So we've got transfer deadline day streams for you all day. We'll have everything covered. We will react to signings, but we are going to be live constantly from now until the close of play. I've dropped the link in the video description for the transfer deadline day show. It literally starts off in 5 minutes. I will be on it at the start. Yesterday's match could be a blessing in disguise since it happened quite early in the window. Now that the players have gotten a reality check, we can expect them to perform better going forward, says Prane. Finally wondering who Sancho's agent is. We've done deals with Dortmund in the past. Would someone like Riola have made a difference to this deal, says Ame? And would we ever get a director of footballer in our time? I don't think so. I think we will get a director of football at some point, Ashe, because they know that Man United fans want one, but it'll be a puppet. It will just be somebody who's there in name but doesn't have any authority. What signing would improve the team the most, says Talal? Oh, look, actually, Jadon Sancho is the signing I want, and it's what everybody wants. But if he'd played yesterday, we still lost 6-1. That's very important to say. We would have lost that game with Jadon Sancho, because I don't think Greenwood or Rashford or Martial, when he was on, were playing bad. I don't think Bruno was playing bad. So we still would have lost that game. What would have stopped us winning that? You know, we've let 11 goals in 3 Premier League games. Jadon Sancho wouldn't have changed that. A centre-back would. So, a centre-back is not going to happen today, but it would. Can we agree Maguire is a flop, and not just because of yesterday, because he was never the right centre-back for us? We overpaid on Harry Maguire, but he's a problem to solve. I would take the captaincy off him, I would get his head right, and I would tell him to focus on being a centre-back and nothing else. You're not a leader, you're not a captain, you're not going to be a great captain of Man United. You're struggling to keep on with your Manchester United career. Go away, focus on being a defender again, because your aerial ability is crap. And that's what we bought you for. So, you know, I don't think it's over for Maguire. The captaincy needs to be taken away and he needs to focus on his game. But he is a problem at the moment, as are all our centre-backs. Right, get over on the link in the video description. We're going to start the transfer deadline day stream. It's going to run all the way through to the end of the window. We're here with you all day. Lots to discuss throughout the day. Lots of topics. Get involved in it. And let's see what happens. But this is the last transfer deadline morning show. What will happen with Sancho, what will happen with Dembele, what will happen with other things. We're going live on the transfer deadline day stream. Links in the video description, or you can go through the homepage. I'll see you in a minute.